So basically what happened was we moved out here a little over 2 years ago. So it was January of whatever 2 years ago, 2019. So then
Okay.
2019 full year, and then 2020. Yeah. So we moved out January of 2019, and Lauren, my fiance, like I said, she's from Madison. We met in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she got an offer from Nike, and the Nike World headquarters is out here in Portland or just
Right.
outside in Beaverton. So it's too good of an opportunity. I was working for Lakefront Brewery, if you're familiar. I've been
Yeah.
with them for a
Great.
number of years.
Great craft beer.
Yeah, love Lakefront. So didn't I probably would have never left that job, but she had too good of an opportunity, so we moved out to Portland, and we're here, whatever. And then basically COVID happened, so everything shuts down, and we're both working from home. And I was like, it's like, geez, we're gonna be spending a lot of time at home. I got to figure out something to do with my time.
Yeah.
I got to find a new hobby or something. If we're gonna be at home all the time. So I was like, hey, Lauren, we can't find pizza like we grew up eating out here. And then I kind of like Googled, and you can't find it pretty much Washington, Oregon, with California, the entire West Coast. And I even think like the East Coast down south, like it's a very, very Midwest thing that never really made its way to like other parts of the country for
Really?
whatever reason, even though there are so many transplants that live,
Yeah. No, are you saying the style of pizza or pizza itself?
no, the style of pizza.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So Portland, obviously Detroit style pizza is a huge trend nationally. So everyone's doing Detroit style
Okay.
all over the country. But then you have obviously your brick oven, coal fire, Neapolitan. You have your Sicilian style, grandma style, which is a thin Sicilian. So you have all these different styles of pizza you can find in other parts of the country. For whatever reason, some are more traditional styles, others are more trendy, like I said, Detroit. But yeah, you just can't find like Midwest thin or what I call there's Chicago thin, and then there's what I do, which is tavern style, which is really thin. So there's difference between like, it's splitting hairs, but there's like the thin crust square cut, and then there's like the tavern style, which is thinner.
Explain why it's called tavern style.
Okay. And then we'll come back to, we'll just be all over the place. But so essentially, without going into too much detail, kind of the history of the style, and I'm going to use Chicago as an example, but I'm sure this was happening in other Midwest blue collar cities across the region. And basically, there were like tavern and bar owners who were looking for a way to get people through the doors, to keep them around a little longer, but also to make it pretty easy. So basically, Chicago, again, being a blue collar city back in the day, you have the stockyards on the south side, and you have all these working class people, right? So they're getting off from their shifts, so they go to the bar because the bar has pizza. And what they would do is, and one of the reasons why I kind of identify with the style as well, not only eating it, growing up and everything, but these weren't bakers, these weren't pizza makers, these weren't chefs that were making these pizzas. These were tavern owners that were just looking to get people through the door.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they'd make these pizzas, they cut them into little squares so they were easy for people to kind of throw on a cocktail napkin or in their hand, have a beer in the other hand. But it was also communal, right? So you throw it on the bar, like places that do popcorn or peanuts, and it'd be easy for people to grab. They could have a couple slices, have a conversation. It was communal, and they could still go home and eat with their families, and they wouldn't be super full from eating a huge meal. So it's kind of like almost a happy hour type thing. And then it kind of evolved, and you can find all across the city of Chicago, you can find tavern style and thin crust pizzas. I mean, everywhere. It's north side, south side, west side. I mean, I can name a number of places that I've been to, throughout the city, some of my favorites. So that's kind of just in a nutshell, it's a little bit on the style or the history of the style, tavern style.
So you couldn't find that style out in Portland?
You can't, no. And you really can't find it on the West Coast. Even I haven't looked too much into like the East Coast or anything, or the southern part of the country, southwest, and also down just kind of southern region and everything. But the only thing that I've really seen is maybe like Rosati's. So Rosati's is a franchise, and they have locations, I think, in like like in Arizona. But other than that, you can't really find like tavern style. At least I haven't been able to find like an authentic tavern style pizza. There are a few places that'll cut their pizza in squares, but that doesn't make it that specific style. But back to the initial question, how I got into this, and basically some of the stuff that I just mentioned, where we just couldn't find it, and I had a lot of time at home because of this. So I told Lauren, I was like, hey, mate, I'm just gonna make a pizza.
Mhm.
And so I went to the store and I couldn't find yeast at first because everybody's making bread. So
Yeah.
like all the stores were out of yeast. So I couldn't find yeast anywhere. So I ended up going to Trader Joe's because they have pre-made dough, pizza dough.
Okay.
And I made a pizza. And I remember this. I made my first pizza. And then we tried it and I was like, this isn't that good. but it's not terrible. And I knew I could improve on that. So then Lauren
Okay.
got on the Nextdoor app and she just asked for yeast. And then a neighbor brought me yeast. So then I was able to, then I made my own, handmade dough.
Yeah.
And then I made another pizza and it was better. Just that one simple thing, making my own dough, it was instantly better. So, it wasn't perfect by any means. And perfection, I don't even think exists when it comes to, food or pizza. But because then you always need room for improvement. But she like posted a picture on her Instagram or something.
Okay.
And then her coworkers were like, where's that from? Like, I want to get that. And I was like, I guess I can make your coworkers pizza. And then my neighbors started asking for me to make them pizzas. So I started making these pizzas, and then I kind of got obsessed. So I was making pizzas every day and I was trying them and I was tweaking the sauce and the dough. And then I make my own homemade bulk sausage. So I make that from scratch. And I'm just like making these pizzas for people. And then the George Floyd situation happened. I was like, well, maybe I can like just take donations from people and make them pizzas, and then I can donate money to like some social justice orgs. So I started doing that. So I was donating to a place here in Portland called Don't Shoot PDX, and then a place back in Chicago called My Block, My Hood, My City. Mm-hmm. So I was just donating money every month to these places. And I did a pretty bad job of like keeping track of expenses and everything, but I would just kind of look at my bank account and I would be like, I don't think I'm losing money.
That sounds like me.
It's like, I don't think I'm losing money here. So I think I'm good. I might be, maybe, everything's kind of even. So I think I'm okay. So, that's what I was doing. But to be honest, I just got obsessed, man. I was making these things every day. I was trying them. I was tweaking things. And then, it was crazy. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way or anything, but it was kind of crazy because like, even from my first like 2 weeks making pizza, mm-hmm. I was getting really, really good feedback from everybody. And I wasn't convinced on this at all. Like I was like, this isn't that good. But people were giving me really good feedback. And then I kept doing it. A couple months passed. And then it was getting better. Like for me, I'm my toughest critic. Me or Lauren. Lauren might be tougher than I am, but I'm my toughest critic. And I'm like, okay, it's getting better. But I initially had like this guy reached out from down in LA who does Detroit style, and he was doing it through Instagram. He kind of blew up or whatever down in the LA area. And he had reached out, and then we just started kind of talking via Instagram. And he mentioned imposter syndrome because he doesn't have a background in anything.
Sounds like that. Yeah.
I have no formal training as a chef. I have no formal training as a baker, pizza maker, anything. So, and neither is this guy, but he's getting like write-ups and all of this, attention about his product. And I, I was, that started happening to me as well. And I, it took a while for me to like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have confidence. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. All I know is I'm tweaking everything to my liking and people are enjoying it. So I initially had like, and he did as well, like imposter syndrome, because we have no experience. We had no experience doing this. So when I really started to get confidence was August of last year. I flew back to Chicago.
Yes, the pilgrimage, So
I flew back to Chicago in August. And do you know my buddy, like one of my best friends, Dylan Goodson?
Yeah, I know Dylan.
Yeah, so Dylan, I stay with Dylan and Abby. I don't know if you know Abby is his wife, but so I stayed with them and I went to 20 pizzerias and I think it was 5 days.
I saw this. This was so fun to watch.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go like this now. But I'm gonna have my Chicago double chin now. That's a super fan double chin.
And he's got the mustache going.
Oh yeah.
Great.
I can never shave this thing now. You've seen my logo.
Yeah.
I did this to myself. It's. But either way, fly back to Chicago, and I was like, you know what? People are telling me my pizza is really good. I don't want it to be good for Portland. I want it to be able to compete with all of the legends back home in Chicago. I want my pizza to be as good or better than a number of the
Yeah.
what I would call pioneers for this specific style throughout the city of Chicago, which is the
Okay.
mecca, in my opinion, of this style where it potentially originated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go back, and it's funny too because I'd been to a number of the places that I went to I'd already been to, and then there were a number that I had never been to as well.
Okay.
And the way I kind of chose the place I was going to go to was because of a book called Pizza City USA. Author Steve Dolinsky, aka the Hungry Hound, ABC7 Chicago.
Yeah.
So
He's got his photo in all these like restaurants in
yeah,
Chicago.
there's a
Yeah.
photo, there's a photo hanging up of him to me in the tavern.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
So, but either way, we kind of, I reached, I think I reached out to him or something, and then because his book is basically the basically his book, the whole thesis of that book, Pizza City USA, is why Chicago. He argues why Chicago's the best pizza city in the United States is because there are 10 different distinct styles within the city of Chicago. Whereas you go to places like New York, right, known for pizza, and you can get a great slice on any corner,
Slices out anywhere. Yeah.
but it's all the same style. Whereas Chicago, you have thin crust, tavern style, you have Roman, deep dish, stuffed pizza, you have Detroit style, Sicilian, Neapolitan, brick oven, coal fire. You have all these different styles within the city, and there's places that do it, an amazing job.
Yeah.
All over, all different parts of the city. So we kind of like, I don't know. I ended up, when I went back, I ended up meeting up with them. We were hanging out. We got a pizza at Fasano's on the south side and everything. And then we've kind of been in contact. We kind of talk, from time to time, just on the internet and everything. But super cool guy either way. I go to Chicago. I go on this pilgrimage throughout the city, going and getting pizza, tavern style pizza. And that was where kind of, I was like, okay, we're making we're making like a pretty good product. So I came back, and then I started getting reviews from like local chefs and local pizza makers. And that, again, that's where I started to continue to gain confidence, was in that. And then finally, I had this wait list on Instagram, which it sounds so stupid. Like I feel dumb even saying it, but it grew. And you gotta think too, I could only make so many in my house, right? I was working full time, and I could only make so many these pizzas, after I was making dough and sauce in the morning. I was working all day, and then I was making pizzas for people at night, and they come to my house and pick them up. But it grew to over a year and a half to get pizza from me out of my house. So, so at that point, I was like, you know what? Like, it's funny. I'm just happy I enjoy making pizza.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a choice. Like I had to do this. You know what I mean? Like it got so out of control that like I didn't have a choice other than to quit my job and figure out how to make this thing, to do this thing full time.
Yeah.
So I know I've kind of been all over the place, but that's a little bit about where we're at.